All right, this is a video on the Tippmann O-Ring Mod. Some of you guys may have seen, there's been reviews of it. This is not something I created. The main purpose of this is maybe so your FPS consistency is maybe varying a little too much. This could narrow it down, or if you're someone that's trying to just find that much more FPS, this will definitely boost you roughly 50 to 100 FPS, maybe even more. It just depends on the barrel setup you have. As far as length, tight bore, wide bore, 200 millimeter to 509, it just kind of depends. So after you're done doing this, definitely recheck your FPS. You're gonna have to most likely readjust it. So I'm already starting with upper receiver here. The lower's already been discarded. You're gonna start by, there's a little screw here. Take your Allen wrench, or screwdriver in this case. Remove it. You're basically gonna take the whole upper apart, which is real simple on this gun. Comes out with this screw here. That's it. Grab the charging handle. Pull it back a little bit. You're gonna pull the bolt out. It'll disconnect. And the rest of everything else, the nozzle and the power tube, will just slide out. I'm going to discard the upper for a minute. Alright, so now you've got a couple pieces here. You got your bolt, your power tube, and your air nozzle. So what happens is, your air nozzle is going to sit on your power tube. I don't know if you'll be able to see it in this, but it's got a little bit of some up and down. It's very, just kind of, it's not super loose, but it's loose enough that the excess air is not being directed anywhere. So it just kind of just purges itself out. So what you're going to end up doing is, we're going to put an O-ring on the power tube. The O-ring to use, it comes in your kit. The actual Tippmann kit, as far as all the O-ring replacements, I don't know if you'll be able to see this, but it's one of the tiny ones right here. Can you see that? Should be able to, but we're going to get to that in a second. So you got to cut a groove into the power tube. So how do you do that? Some people have said something with, using all kinds of different things. Most simplistic method would be a hacksaw blade. Yeah, you can have it on something. If you can't hold this and you cut yourself, then I don't know. Just, it is what it is. So if you look, when you put the nozzle over the power tube, you attach the little metal bar. The idea is you want the O-ring to stay inside the power tube. So if you put the whole kit together, if I can get the dang thing. So the bolt's pushed in now. If you look here, you can either take a Sharpie, some kind of mark, something you want to score at least the moment in time of where it's going to most likely go forward all the way. I'm just going to put a little light cut here with a blade. Now the mark that I just put is pretty much as far forward as the nozzle is going to go. So if I want the O-ring to stay intact from the power tube to the air nozzle assembly the entire time, I'm going to put a hacksaw right behind that. So let's see if you can see this. It's going to be real simple here. I'm going to start a little groove right behind it. I'm going to just gently get it started. It's real hard plastic. So once you get a groove, I'm just going to get a little spot going first. Once I get it kind of with a little bit of a groove in it, I'll start to rotate it. Real simple. It's not, you don't got to apply much pressure at all. They'll kind of just do the cutting for you. And you want to do less is more first. There's a couple people I've seen have cut the power tube in half. That is not what we're going to go for here. I'm using a fine bladed hacksaw blade. You can use a coarse one if you'd want. I've experienced so far in the couple of these that I've done, the fine blade seems to work a little bit better. Alright, so there's a little decent of a groove started there. You might be able to see that on the camera. Alright, so now that it's kind of started to have a guide sort of to keep this. Now I'm going to try my best to just get back in that groove. And I'm going to just circle around the power tube. Alright, so I cut a little bit. Could go maybe deeper. So first I'm going to take the O-ring now that we got from our kit, and I'm just going to do a test fit and see if it actually stays on there. I'd rather go a little less at first, that way it doesn't, I don't rip it, I don't cut the actual power tube off. So here are the O-rings on it. It appears Let me do a little bit of a tug on it. Doesn't really seem to come off. It's got a nice groove that it can sit in. Take the air nozzle here. We're going to put it over it. And if you notice, didn't really move it, but didn't really want to slide over it very easy either. So I could probably go just a little deeper on it. And again, I will now pull it off. I'll go sand a little bit more. Go slow with this. The faster you go with it and you get in a rush is where you're going to end up destroying the power tube. Alright, so I went a little deeper on it. Should be able to get a good look at the actual groove there now. Try to make it as, you know, same height all the way around and everything. Take another test fit here with the O-ring. Slap it back over it. Put some groove. There, nozzle over it. It went over it. So obviously the groove is deep enough. The O-ring's not coming off. So I'd say it's ready for reassembly now. Tippmann's got its own oil that it came with. I still have it. I've been using these Getson 1000 on my Daytona guns, so I've been using it on everything else pretty much. So I'm just going to put a little drop on the outside of the O-ring. With my finger, I'll just spread it around. Just so it makes the contact here a little bit smoother. Alright, and now it's pretty much the same, the reverse. Grab the upper. Grab a little metal bar here. See this little groove up here in the top? It's pretty self-explanatory how this goes in, but it kind of goes to the top there, rides across this rail at the top on the power tube. I put those in first. I hang the bar out the back a little bit. Now this little pin here on the bolt is what actually is going to ride into the channel of the charging handle. So it kind of goes in like so. Let the assembly pull forward. And you're going to have to push just a tad, just to get the hole lined up. Just get that same screw hole lined up that you had. Once it's there, just tighten her up. I can get it to tighten up. There we go. And ta-da, it's completed. Mount your upper back on your lower. Chrono where she's at. I can guarantee you're going to have to readjust the FPS screw. And from there, you should have a little maybe more consistency, higher FPS, whatever your goal was in mind there. Other than that, if you got any questions, comments, concerns, put them in the comments below.